Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaRakakadash, Dominus, the elder apostles, the great most on it, roll well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the like certain truth, pushing the word to the four corners. Shalom. Um, yeah, you've had, escalation essentially began by Trump, towards Russia with the movement of military submarines into the vicinity of China and Russia. And now you've got the bounce back, the response, which is it's on this Reuters article. It says Russian and Chinese navies practice destroying enemy submarine days after Trump move. So this is the Russian and Chinese navies have practiced hunting and destroying an enemy submarine in the Sea of Japan. So yeah, they're doing war games. And, this has been the back and forth for a while. It's similar with when you have the Russians sending in their planes to kind of scope out different spots. Damn. The Russians sending their planes to scope out, different spots in Europe and whatnot. Then you'll have EU, NATO nations, or America kind of, sending in planes as well. That back and forth, that whole dynamic's been, it's been going on for the longest. And really, it's from when Putin got back in power after Medvedev, skedaddled. Then, he's really gone back into that same spirit. That, that Soviet Union spirit, that Cold War spirit, where they're viewing them as rivals, as enemies. And this is why it's a thing with the Ukraine invasion is really it's letting them know, it's made the intent clear. America's going to project their influence. Russia is going to project their influence, and that's going to mean that conflict will abound. Because I'll say the Russian and Chinese navies have practiced hunting and destroying, and really it's prophecy is the key thing. Prophecy is what's gonna bring these guys to blows. It's gonna be like what do you call it? Like you have a globe or chess pieces, man. The black piece and the white pieces have been arrayed on either side, and you have openers where you'll kind of set up the board, position pieces in advance. But then, once a conflict starts, becomes a bloodbath. It's funny because after was it during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, chess, online chess, blew up in popularity again. And it's funny because that conflict has really been building up from then, because it was 2020. The Iranian, what was it, Soleimani getting assassinated. That really heightened the Middle East, and then you had the Ukraine situation afterwards as well. So you've basically had that war brewing, and it's really through prophecy. I'll read it. In fact, I might as well read it now. Revelation 7:1, it says, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads." So unto the elect is fully sealed. So for the elect's sake, basically that destruction, that wind's being held back. And that wind being held back means, it's being furled. It's like if you're, catching wind in sails, for example. If you ever sailed, then, you have the big ass sail, and then you have to spin it round and then find an angle where the wind's pushing. As soon as it catches the wind, then it fills out like a round belly. It just fills out. So that's it. It's all there. It's ready. It's being held back in. It's ready to blast through. But then it's being held back, and that's how it is with its destruction. As far as all the pieces are there, it's basically got the capabilities to come to a fullness. But then what? It's being held back. It's being restrained, and for the sake of prophecy and for the sake of the elect. So I read on. So this is what Russia's defense ministry said on Wednesday, days after U.S. President Donald Trump said he had moved 2 U.S. submarines closer to Russia. Russia said the exercise involved Chinese Y-8 anti-submarine aircraft and IL or 1L 38 planes from Russia's Pacific Fleet, as well as helicopter crews. As a result of effective joint actions, the enemy submarine was promptly detected and mock destroyed, the defense ministry said. So obviously it's a shot at at the American submarine that just got moved in there. Because why? That's how these things are. The submarine's being moved. It's like, okay, look, Trump showcase and I'll do it. These guys are showcase. Okay, well, we'll respond in kind. After practicing anti-submarine tasks, the crews of Russian and Chinese ships thanked each other for their fruitful work. And yeah, these guys have been working together because what was it as well? It was North Korea as well. Their military is basically being seasoned on the Ukraine battlefield. And there's an article a week back, I believe, saying what's South Korea's response going to be to that, because they're basically going to have a be up against a military that's far more seasoned, that's been in modern warfare, and you have South Korea where everyone has to all the men have to do military service and military training. So functionally every young man in Korea is trained for war, but training for military training versus actually being in military conflict is not the same deal. So this is what Trump said. His submarine order last Friday was made in response to what he called highly provocative remarks by former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev about the risk of war between nuclear-armed adversaries. So yeah, he's immediately, and this guy is like, for everything is his ego, man. The guy's a lunatic. He's a maniac. One, he has enough of an ego to think he basically can conduct himself as he desires. He can just fulfill any of his lusts and desires. Which, that's the pride of Esau, the pomp, that bald eagle. Fucking hell. And just flew in, you cheeky fuck. Yeah, the desire to, fulfill it. That's why he's been put in that position, man. He's got that pomp, that pride to follow through, purely on ego alone, man. This guy is anyone that doesn't, give him what he desires, tell him what he wants to hear, he's getting rid of him. Elon also has a huge fucking ego. So he's thinking, these guys butted heads over, it seems like the key thing was the deficit for Elon. And that was the main point where they kind of blew up. Then this guy, he fucking socked him in the head. Bust his eye. So it's, it's basically been roused, man. Nero's been set in that position. And he's been fully unsealed, man. Because on his first time, he wasn't, pushed to this extent. When it's like, you know, Emperor Nero, where he waxed worse, man. So what does it say? The Kremlin this week played down the significance of Trump's announcement, saying US submarines are on constant combat duty anyway, and said that everyone should be very, very careful with nuclear rhetoric. The episode came at a delicate moment, with Trump threatening to impose new sanctions on Russia and buyers of its oil, including India and China, unless President Vladimir Putin agrees by Friday to end the 3.5-year war in Ukraine. The anti-submarine exercise was part of a wider series of Russian-Chinese naval drills over the past week. The two countries, which signed a no-limits strategic partnership shortly before Russia went to war in Ukraine in 2022, conduct regular military exercises to rehearse coordination between the armed forces and send a deterrent signal to adversaries. And yeah, India said they're still gonna buy Russian oil, and I think it was initially they had a 25% tariff, and he slapped on another 25, so it's 50% at this moment. So you know he's really trying to make people, you know, disconnect from that Russian oil. But that's a thing where a lot of these nations it's like, why in the fuck would they? Especially because the oil pipeline's already built. Gazprom is nice to know them up, and then they'll just be like, "Yo, we're gonna, you know, cripple our economy to please this guy's ego." Hell no. Ezekiel 38:2, it says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." These motherfuckers, man. "And I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them with sorts of armor, and even a great company with buckler and shield, all of them handling swords." And yeah, the hooks in the jaw is, you know, you had what was it, Gorbachev coming as head of the Soviet Union as it's on its way out. Then after it became, you know, Russia trying to cozy up to the West, and that was his whole approach. But that, you know, it didn't even bear fruit. And then in the longer term, what's happened is that old spirit's been put back, the adversarial spirit, and Putin's really the spearhead of that, you know, that mindset, that approach, where he's really at the head of being against, you know, these Western powers, against America. And you know, BRICS are building a you know, a global infrastructure, a new world order, you could say, to combat against, you know, the American world order. But you know what these things are the chaos, the order of chaos. They want to, you know, take a new order out of this chaos where you have, you know, East and West contending, you know, economies being ruined, you know, people's ability to live, eat, and whatever being threatened, to where, you know, a new system can be accepted off the back of it, man. And that's where a lot of this contention comes from, man. These guys are basically, you know, as far as the elite desire, you know, being pushed to conflict so that can be to their benefit in the end, where they're like, okay, you know, we blow everything up, we crumble these systems, and then everyone will be, you know, eager, gagging for that new system, that brave new world, that 1984, you know, these systems where everything's basically, all power is given over at equilibrium, all power is given over to, you know, the system, and they're just completely within it. Anyone outside it is turned into Soylent Green, man. So Joel 3:9, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." And yeah, these are, you know, it's part of those winds, man. That World War III. That's a key prophecy. And then what? It says the winds are being held back. Because why? Yeah, it's these guys are ready to blow. The operation within Iran, everyone was saying, oh, it's gonna kick off World War III. And yeah, because what? It's Iran's like that big central focus for a lot of these nations, man. That's that big spot everyone's kind of looking to get into. And that's where the Lord's gonna have all these nations drawn out. But the prophecy needs to come to pass. The key one is that mark, that sea hip, which we're seeing push. But your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh Shabbat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And yeah, everyone's being drawn, being clustered. Damn. Into that conflict. Because that's the key aspect now. Clumping everyone together, and then getting them into that military conflict, so that destruction can come together, and then you'll have, Yahweh Shai's return, and you'll have these nations fight against Yahweh Shai. But, they're going to be cooked. And as far as, World War III is going to pop off, man. And really it will culminate in what? Everyone flipping, turning on America, all the allies being like, yo, fuck this, and lacing her with missiles, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom, shalom.